Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 618 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Eilon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous: Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, my wife and I have been married for 23 years. I know that there are many single folks out there, and I'm friends with many of them, that are looking for the one, right? This person that's going to show up on a white horse and come and rescue you. Understand that everybody out there is going to have their pluses and their minuses. The question is, are you better together as a union? And in that, do you complement one another? And because of that, the fact that you complement one another, are you willing to fight for that union every single day? That is the question. And I can't wait to talk more about relationships on our podcast today. Terry and Carol Moss are dynamic voices in the world of relationships. Terry is recognized as a pastor in the marketplace and a wholeness architect committed to helping individuals and couples thrive emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. A retired corporate executive with 36 years in his career in commercial underwriting, including leadership as second vice president at a nationally recognized insurance firm, Terry now devotes his life to full-time ministry, coaching, and teaching. With over 5 decades of ministry experience, Terry brings a rare blend of pastoral care, professional insight, and practical relationship wisdom. And he's known as a professor, a teacher, a leader, and a relationship expert. And this is a role he continues to embody today through One Flesh Ministries, the nonprofit that he co-founded with his wife, Carol. Together, they have touched lives across the United States and internationally, equipping couples and ministry leaders with biblical tools for healthy, lasting relationships. Their passion, it's very simple: helping people become whole so their relationships can thrive. Terry and Carol, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
Hey, it is fantastic to have you on the show, and I love talking about relationships with college students. I think it's really important to start that foundation in college. And, your story includes both pain and also incredible redemption. So, can you share how your individual journeys through divorce, through abuse, eventually brought you two together to form One Flesh Ministries?
Be happy to. I'll start with that. And it's a longer story than we have time for. So hopefully one of these days we get to share the deeper story, because it really is a great story. But so I was married for 26 years prior to this relationship. And like many relationships, marriages, it was up and down and difficult sometimes. And ultimately it ended up in divorce, which was difficult for me. I was serving in the church, working with couples, and then I'm going through a divorce. So that was a difficult time. I call that my dip, where it was like the worst of times. It became the best of times. It was a whole personal struggle, but I learned more about myself and relationships, both vertical and horizontal, by the way.
Mhm.
And then over time, as some of the pastors and leaders kept saying, you should get married again, you should get married again. Uh, and then I said, okay, God, present the woman you prepared to be my suitable helper. Ooh, ooh. And he gave me Carol.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful story, because with myself, within my 9 years of marriage, there was drug abuse from my ex-husband, which caused a big separation in our marriage that ultimately ended in divorce. So I had to learn to grow to be a better Carol for waiting when God was to bring me this man.
Yes. And so we got married,
Mhm.
and we were invited to, about a year or two into a conference, or into our relationship. We got invited to a conference, to do a marriage conference. And we hadn't done one before. We agreed to do it. It went so well. They invited us back again, do another one. We said, well, if we're going to be doing conferences, maybe we better call ourselves something. And so we happened to be reading in Genesis 2:24. And it says, where the scripture that says, man shall leave mother and father, be united to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. We got One Flesh Ministries, bringing people together in oneness. That's all
Wow,
we
that
got.
is beautiful.
Yes.
Listen, I'm so happy that you guys found each other and you started One Flesh Ministries. I think that's a wonderful thing, and God certainly was at work to help make that happen. So that's
Yes,
beautiful.
yes.
I was wondering, many of our listeners, they're of course in their late teens, early 20s. They're navigating their first serious relationships in life. So I'm wondering what inspired you to write the book. It's called Whole You Before Two. And why do you think that this message is especially needed for college students?
So I'm going to take the first part of that and let
Yeah.
Carol handle the second part. But I wrote Whole You Before too because over the 30 years that I've been coaching and mentoring couples, I realized this: humans, we have a problem.
Mhm.
We were created for connected relationships. Yet most of us don't know how to create or maintain connected relationships. So in recent years, I realized that most of us try to build healthy relationships by doing. If I give flowers, if we do date nights, if we read about communications, and all those things are good. But what I realized that healthy relationships aren't about what we do, but it's about who we are. Who are we becoming? Who are we that we bring into that relationship?
And that is so good. And I think for our young people, we absolutely just love our young people because they're our next generation. So the fact that their first possible serious relationship, they're still growing emotionally and trying to find themselves. This is the time to really determine your self-worth and your self identity. Know who you are and like that person and not compare yourself to others. That's the beginning of becoming that whole you, knowing who you are and liking who you are, living authentically as to who you are.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Let's talk about that whole you a little bit more. I think we need to drill down on that because you say the greatest gift you can bring to any relationship is a whole you. I mean, now we know as humans, right? We're not perfect. We were never designed to be perfect humans. We have, pluses and minuses, kind of like what I talked about initially. So,
Mhm.
what does it mean to be whole before entering a relationship? And how does that wholeness change the dynamic between two partners?
Great question.
And so for myself, like I said, during those 9 years, and my ex-husband decided that he wanted to use drugs. I don't know where that came from. I had to then start determining who is Carol. What did I want my future to look like? Because I absolutely did not want my future to look like drug usage. And because I was working for the government, I had to determine, do I want to stay or should I go? And at that time, we had children, 3 children as well, and one had a special need. So, wholeness is learning who you are, your self worth, and building your self confidence. Wholeness doesn't allow another person to identify you. So I couldn't allow the choices he made to identify Carol because I was not a drug user and did not want to be in that world. So I had to learn what whole was all about. And I figured it's that self confidence. Wholeness doesn't allow a person to identify you. So, from our young people and us, Terry and I talking with them, we hear things like, oh, I'm so in love. He or she completes me. Oh, I can't live without him or her. But you have to remember, you have a lot of life before you. And so, those many years ahead of yourself and that amazing feeling in your relationship is what we call you're in a honeymoon phase.
Mm.
You're kind of stuck in this oh, I'm so in love, this is so good. We call that love bubbles. But you have to determine, is that a safe place for you, and is that where you really want to be? Is it really love?
Mhm. I love that. I think it's really important. And I especially encourage young people to have that conversation with their partner. I think before we even get together, let's have that conversation about what it looks like to be in love, right? So, if we get together tonight, are you going to call me tomorrow morning or is
Right.
it, right? Like I need to have that conversation up front. So that
Mhm.
way everybody knows what those expectations are. I think that's the problem is that young people are not having those conversations about what the expectations are tomorrow and a week later? And also, what does the rest of your life look like? Like, I want to know these things because just like you, I want to be successful, right? And
Exactly.
if you're making decisions where you're going to be taking drugs every day, then that's on me as a couple.
That's right.
It's so good.
Absolutely.
So I always say, remember, you can't build a healthy we until you become a healthy me.
Right. Right.
I like that. And also, you teach something called three keys to emotionally thriving relationships. I'm wondering, what are those three keys to emotionally thriving relationships, and how can college students apply them when they are dating other people, friendships, or maybe even as a leader in a student organization?
Yes, another great question. So Carol kind of touched on those three keys. I'm going to touch on them and then kind of broaden it to what you just asked in terms of
Yeah.
the application of it. But the three, know who you are.
Mm,
And I call that self-identity.
Hmm.
And we know how important that is and how sometimes it's lacking in these times of
mhm,
really who am I? But if you can really know who you are, and I'll expand that just a little bit, like who you are,
mm.
like who you are, that's self-worth, knowing your own value, knowing your own worth. And the third is living true to who you are in every space.
That's good.
I call that authenticity.
Mm,
Hmm.
So let's apply that in every relationship, not just in college age, but that's what we're talking about here. And that's where a college age student needs to have a strong sense of who they are
mm.
and have healed from past traumas or past hurts or are healing from
Mhm,
those past traumas, past hurts. And then
mhm.
sometimes we think, well, these are teenagers, these are young adults. What do you mean, past traumas, past hurts? They haven't lived much of a life. I promise you. Because when we get to these older ones, when they're married and they're coming for coaching now, we go back and we realize many of them have never healed from those old wounds.
Mm.
Some are wounds that come from family situations,
Divorce a parent,
the divorce of a parent or death of a
abuse.
parent or
Yes,
abuse
Hmm.
yes.
or past relationship hurts. Maybe they had that first girlfriend and then a boyfriend, and oh, it was a wonderful thing, and then it broke up and it was devastating. I remember having a conversation with a guy like that, and it was like the end of the world. Well, no, it isn't. So you have to really know yourself and be healed from those old wounds. And then like yourself. That's that self-worth
Mhm.
and not wait for someone to affirm you, not someone to tell you you're good, not someone to applaud you, because when we live to be applauded, then we're performance based and we're not wholeness based. If I want to be whole me, I want to be healthy and healed and whole for me before two. So it's whole you before two, if you look at the book.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then when you like yourself, you know yourself. Now you can walk authentically in every space, no
Mhm.
matter what that relationship is, whether it's a leadership role, whether it's a romantic role. You walk into that with a confidence, not an arrogance, but emotionally mature and emotionally whole, because that's what every connection needs.
That is so good. And I think what makes it so hard to date or love is because we compare ourselves to what we see on social media.
Right.
Yes.
And so now you see on social media, it looks so perfect that you want to alter your body as a young person, or you want to love like this, or you want to live like this, you want to drive like that. And you haven't really found your self identity, but yet you want to be like that
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, Carol, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think social media is really a big issue here. I mean, I'm not going to out him, but there was one guy who I was very close friends with for a while. And on social media, he's posting him and his family and his two children, and they're all walking arm in arm on the beach on a sunny
Yes. Yeah.
day, six-pack abs, the whole thing. You look at like out of a movie. And then, but
Yes.
meanwhile, I knew it behind the scenes, they were going through a terrible divorce and
Yes.
everything was a wreck. But this is just what they were, the front. This was just what they were trying to portray to everybody on the outside. But I
Yeah.
knew it was nonsense. I knew that they already were in divorce proceedings. And I'm like, what is this? This is
Yes.
just, this
Yeah.
is nonsense. So
Yeah.
I
We see
agree
that
with
all
you.
the
I think
time.
everybody, wants to, match up with somebody's best day on Instagram, but that's not even the truth.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. And so that's what makes us lose our self-confidence is this image.
Hmm.
I don't look like that. I don't have that. I don't drive that. I don't dress this.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so now we're losing who we actually are because we're looking at something that, honey, I'm so sure they done took 10 takes and with a face alter thing to look that clear and
That's
good.
right.
Right,
That's right.
right, absolutely.
And then,
The other thing
so
that we
you
should
get
talk
driven.
about too, I was
No, go
just going
ahead.
to say, I think we should talk about spirituality too, because, obviously both of you have it, and I applaud that. I think that's something that I'm working on for myself is that spirituality part. And one of your talks is called Wholeness is the New Wellness. I'm wondering, how does emotional and spiritual health go hand in hand? And why is it that things like diet and exercise alone are not really enough for true wellness?
Hmm. That's so funny. I'm laughing at myself because I need to focus more on the diet part. But that's a whole nother story. But emotional wholeness is so important. It's the capacity to recognize, accept, and manage your feelings, your traumas, your triggers without being controlled by them. Spiritual health is about feeling connected to something greater than yourself. It involves finding meaning in our life, living with appreciation and gratitude, and maintaining hope. That's that spiritual part. You need something that you can hold on to that keeps you grounded. For me, I find it in God, but it can be expressed differently for others. But they both interconnect. It's rooted in self awareness and self acceptance.
It's good. It's good.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, that's really good. I like that. And you also share that faith can heal what therapy alone can't. So, how can spirituality play a role in emotional recovery for young adults who have been hurt or betrayed? Because I agree with you, Terry. I've seen a lot of college students that have experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, in their families, in relationships, and they come with all this trauma and it hasn't been dealt with. And
Right.
so, what
Mhm.
do we see in college? We see a lot of alcohol and drug abuse
Yeah.
because they're just masking, they're covering up all of this trauma that hasn't been resolved. So, I'm
Yes.
wondering, how can spirituality play a role in that recovery?
But actually, with that too, that's so good. Let's not forget sexual abuse as well.
Yes,
Because
yes,
once you
absolutely.
get to college and you're loose on your own, you try to gain acceptance by giving your body up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is
It's a lot. It's a
huge.
lot. A lot. So therapy, so we don't call ourselves therapists. We call ourselves coaches.
Yeah.
But therapy has a place to help us more from the mind standpoint, understanding how we think and how we process information and that mental healthness of our mind, our psyche. But but sometimes I do believe that that's not enough. It's
Mm-mm.
good, but it's not enough. And so that the spirituality piece becomes important because it connects to what something what Carol was saying is to me it's a matter of faith and
Yes.
faith in something greater than yourself
Yes.
and a higher self or
Yes.
a higher purpose, a
Being.
higher
Mm-hmm.
being.
Mm-hmm.
And so if our hope is only in what we see and only in this life that we experience,
Mm-hmm.
we can become jaded, disillusioned. And that just adds to the trauma that
Mm-hmm.
we've dealt with and realize, well, there is no hope.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to lose hope because so when we focus on that higher power, and it's like Carol, that's for me is God, the creator.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I don't have to worry about boy, this is it. This is it. This is as good as it's gonna get. No, there is life and there is abundant life that God wants us to have. And if we can hold on to that faith that gives us hope that even in the darkest moments, I can be a shining light because the future is not as dark as my past.
Yeah.
Yes. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, everybody needs hope. I mean, that's really
Yeah.
what we're all seeking, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
We're seeking that, I think, in our leaders too. When I think about our
Mm.
country and kind of where we are, And so that kind of brings me to this next step of leadership, right? What lessons about leadership and emotional health do you wish that every student leader who's listening right now understood before they take on this responsibility of leading other people?
Another great question, and I wish we had a long time to delve into that, but I'm going to say as succinctly as I can.
Mhm.
And I've been in leadership for many years, and
Yes,
Mhm.
so
decades.
a strong leader is not simply the loudest or the most popular.
Absolutely.
The strength of a leader starts within. Be an emotionally whole you, then lead others from your wholeness, not your weakness.
That's good.
Mhm. That's really
Mhm.
good. I mean, you said it succinctly. There's not much to say after that, right? I mean, if you understand that,
Yeah,
then you can lead other people.
yeah.
Mhm.
And what's really interesting is that you both mentor couples and leaders all over the world. I'm wondering, from all of the sessions that you've done together as a couple, what's that one consistent truth about relationships that you see that holds across all ages of people that you work with and all stages of life?
Let me go first.
Oh, okay.
I think that from us going to Africa, Kenya, and all the different places, that we are all made for relationships. We are all made for relationships, and that we all want acceptance, and that we all want and need appreciation. That's across the board.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I was going to say a similar thing. It is a human race concern.
Yes.
Right.
The concern is we need what Carol just said. We want connected relationships. We want intimate relationships. We want closeness. We want people we can trust and people who will value us.
Right.
The problem we've seen from country to country, place to place, city, state to state is humans really don't know how to do it well.
Yes.
They don't know how to develop closely connected relationships and maintain them. And part of the problem is because of things we've just talked about. They
Right.
haven't been healed from their own hurts.
Right.
Hmm.
And so an unhealthy you coming into a relationship is going to bring unhealthiness to the relationship.
Hmm.
And so
Mhm.
it takes two healthy people to have a healthy relationship. And that's what we all want, but we have to learn how to do that.
We're not talking about perfection by no
Absolutely
means,
not.
not
Absolutely
perfection,
not. Because,
because I think it's wholeness is a journey.
yeah,
You don't just wake up and say, "Oh, one day I'm whole."
right,
No,
right.
but it's understanding what your flaws are and that you need to continue to grow and become this internal, healthy individual.
Yeah.
To recognize what your insecurities are and not and recognize your triggers and what your boundaries are. That's more of knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
like
sometimes
that.
with the college age students, they think, you know, that's so far off.
That's for old folks.
I'm gonna learn that. I'm gonna get there. But I promised them
Hmm.
if they would just understand that it's while you are becoming
Hmm.
right now,
Yes.
this is your time to become a whole you.
It's a
You
journey.
don't wait because it isn't a destination, I'll say.
Yes.
It is a journey,
It's
it's
a
a
journey.
process.
Yes.
But you don't have to wait until you graduated here to get this. You can
Yes.
start working on this today.
Yes. It's
I love
seasons
that.
of life.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I like all of it. The other thing that with is the technology too. I think that's another thing that's working against us when we start thinking about couples because a lot of the young people, they have this app where they can just swipe right and left and see unlimited amounts of people. And the problem with that is that they always think that there's somebody better waiting. So they end up throwing away like perfectly good relationships because they think if they swipe one more time, that's going to be Mr. or Mrs. Wonderful, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
You
I
know,
just think that they missed the boat. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there is no perfect person. They're searching for the perfect person. Show me one perfect person. I haven't met
Yes.
anybody, including myself.
Yes.
Well, right.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, we call that the 80-20 rule. Okay. You might have to give up 20, but that's only 20, but you're gaining 80. No one has 100. No one
Right,
has
right.
it.
I think that's the another big message, right? Yes, you have to be healthy in order to have a healthy relationship, and it's got to be two healthy people. But also, yeah, there is no perfect person. Like if you can get to 80% I'm telling you, take it and run with it to the
Hey.
bank. Okay.
But here's the thing. We don't have to focus on perfection. You're
Right.
absolutely correct. And we shouldn't.
Right.
But what are we focusing on?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when people are seeking relationships, what are you seeking? So when you're swiping right, what are you trying to get to? And that's what Whole You Before Two is all about, is trying to help us understand that it starts with you. If you can understand who you are and feel good about who you are,
Yes.
then you're going to bring that to a relationship, but you also will be evaluating the other person based on who they are and where they are. And when you align with values and purposes and principles and goals, that's the one.
And that's what helps you get out of those unhealthy relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what helps you get out of them because then you know it doesn't align with what you want
Hmm.
and the goals and where you see your future going.
Hmm.
If that don't make it because he got that slick talk and tell you how good you look and just study taking. If it doesn't feel good to you, then you know that's not right.
Yeah.
But again, remember that image. If you think because they see him, he got that six pack, he
Hmm.
tall, dark, handsome, you want everybody to see that he's your man. Well, it really don't always work that way. It's that image.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
very passionate about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
sure.
know you are. I
No,
see
you're
it. I
done
can see it,
right.
Carol, for sure. I mean, Carol, you were, in a relationship that wasn't what you wanted, right, for your life, right? So imagine if you're speaking to other college students out there who feel stuck in an unhealthy relationship, whether it's drug abuse or trauma or physical abuse or whatever it is, right? What would you say to them today?
I would say, remember how you got started. I remembered how hard I worked to start establishing the career that I had. Then I start looking forward as to that particular behavior will make me lose what I worked so hard for.
Hmm.
So I start projecting and looking forward. What do I want my future to look like? I not only need to protect myself, but I need to protect my children. So I had to determine that's a decision he chose that I didn't choose. And so, therefore, I had to get the strength to say, you know what? This is not what I want my life to look like. And although it was a fearful time, he had the audacity to strike me. And once he hit me in my face, and I got damaged from that. I had a black eye where I can look in the mirror. That was my driven force to say, no, my future is not going to be like this. And I got out quickly. There was no second chances for domestic abuse in my book.
Right. Wow. Man, that is powerful. And so hopefully you've given some of the people who are listening today something to think about in terms of where they want to go in their life and what's acceptable and what is not acceptable
Yeah,
to
exactly.
them in their life. So really
Yes. Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Really, really powerful stuff. All right. Well, Terry, I tell you, I'm wondering how can our listeners learn more about your book? It's called Whole You Before Two. How can they learn about your coaching programs? Or maybe they want to invite both of you, Terry and Carol, to speak on their campus. Where can they go to get all of the stuff?
Well, first, we would love to come to your campus and speak with you. The best place to go is our website. It's onefleshministries.org. Onefleshministries.org. There you can read about us, you know more about the book. You can purchase the book, or you can purchase the book through Amazon. You can contact us to speak on your campus and book appointments with us as well. So that's kind of the central place to go and see more about other podcasts we've been on or other work we've done. So that's where to go.
Yes.
Onefleshministries.org.
Yes.
Fantastic. OneFleshMinistries.org. Go there, go buy the book. You can set up all kinds of coaching appointments and you can invite them to come and speak on their campus. I know Terry and Carol would absolutely be thrilled to come and
Yes.
speak on your
Yes.
campus. They
Yes.
would
Give
enjoy
us a
it and they would
time.
have the time of their lives. And I think the students would walk away with some really, really good, tangible ideas and thoughts and actions in terms of how they can get healthy relationships too. So,
Yes.
Terry and Carol, it's been wonderful spending time with you. I'm so happy that God put the two of you together. You're doing wonderful work at One Flesh Ministries. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. And
Thank
thank you so
you.
much for being on the show today.
I
Thank
would
you for
appreciate
having
that.
us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Of course. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed Terry and Carol, I want you to like this interview on social media and I want you to share it with other college students that are thinking about getting into healthy relationships, maybe getting out of an unhealthy relationship. Share this interview with them and let them learn a little bit more about the book. It's called Whole You Before Two. I think this could definitely help them out as well. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.